Hi, Steph. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How is it going?
Thank you. I'm great today. How are you?
I'm doing fine, fine, fine. And thank you so very much for being here. I say, I truly appreciate it.
Thank you for having
Oftentimes,
me.
yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And oftentimes, Steph, I love to thank my guests for two main things. So, firstly, Steph, I want to thank you for investing in yourself. And you see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes too, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some months back, Steph, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry, and I just walked past it. But you see, Steph, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed, Steph, a lot. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And instantly, I got the urge to move closer. So when I got closer, man, it wowed me. Because this time around, the mango tree has got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And you see, not just mangoes now, but ripe mangoes. So it was really beautiful to look at. I was so excited that day. Now, my point is the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing person that you are today. That alone has made it pretty hard and difficult for me to skip you. And that's how you see you got the request from me to be on the show because I was deeply attracted to your work and the fruit of your work and all that you're doing. It's amazing. So thank you so very much for dedicating all of those time and energy and resources to becoming the incredible person you are today. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite because if Steph had said nope, there was nothing I could do about it. So thank you.
I love your mango story. Thank you. It didn't. It was so descriptive. I was thinking not only of your analogy and the actual
Mhm.
mango tree and that transformation, but really it started to roll through my head all the things that I have done to improve myself. And someone may not think that it's a beautiful transformation, but
Yeah,
I feel good about the things I've done to grow myself, which have benefited others. So yeah, it's an
beautiful.
evolution for sure.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Okay, let's get started. Steph, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. All right. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to a beautiful one, Steph, I believe it takes the application of knowledge. And not just knowledge, but the application of it. And you see, Steph, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Steph on the show is for the sake of the listeners. He says, Steph, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for eye-opening, transformative, and quality information. And I'm totally convinced, Deb, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. You know, we are just so curious right now. We want to know how Steph got in. Then afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Steph, over to you.
Yeah, I often get asked this question, how I got where I am, and I'll be honest, it was a meandering road. I didn't figure out till a few years ago what I wanted to be when I grew up. And if your listeners are able to view the video too, they could see I've got some gray hair. So I'm not that young. So it's been a while. It's been a journey to figure out how to get where I am. But what I teach in my organizations as a fractional chief operating officer, a part-time chief operating officer, and a business coach is to stand what I call stand in the gap. And that is that throughout my career, what I've done is looked to see where there was something that was not being solved or resolved or needed to be done to improve an organization's position. And by doing so, I was able to develop skills and abilities that strengthened my own experiences, but helped the company. And then by doing so, the company said, here, can you fix more? And then I got more experiences and more knowledge and information. So I've meandered my way through a bunch of roles and responsibilities and entrepreneurship to land where I am today and doing exactly what I love, and that is helping small businesses scale.
Amazing. You see, you just used one of my favorite words, which is help. And that's a good one because folks who are helping others, oh boy, they are very, very important to this world. And I'm so, so glad that I just came across one of us. Steph, thank you for all that you're doing. I tell you, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, beautiful. So, the very first question, all right, let us look at young professionals. Okay, so how can young professionals develop an owner mindset? You got it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm still writing the book Owner Mindset, and I'm defining what the criteria are, the skills, abilities, the qualities of that mindset, so that individuals can develop it. I'll list a couple off the top of my head that I do think are critical, and that is the ability to take risks. All entrepreneurs and owners have to take risks. If you don't take risks, albeit calculated risks, I'm not saying go jump off a bridge. I am saying think about the scary road and play out how that's going to occur. Is it going to, I could run into a bear, I could have a green pasture on the other side, or I could run into a cliff, and anticipate all of the options of your path and make a wise choice. But you've got to take a path, and goodness is often on the other side. Fear often keeps us from, or our own inability to recognize that we can achieve something keeps us from taking risks. That's a big one. But being curious, like curious to say what's on the other side and how can I achieve that? And sure, so and so did it. I can do that. Like recognizing that curiosity and knowing that all of our roads go two ways. I don't believe that any path that we take, you can't turn around and say, no, that wasn't a good path. I'm going to take a different one now. And so those are two really critical elements of an owner mindset that I think help people stand in the gap and make choices to improve their own career and businesses.
Beautiful. You explained it in such a way that it is quite easy to understand. What a great teacher you are. Okay, the second one. So let us talk about small businesses, all right? So what are some of the biggest or what are the biggest challenges small businesses face?
I think if we speak internationally and inherently about a small business as opposed to certain regions, that, for example, in the United States, the biggest challenge right now is having employees in different states. So compliance laws are often a challenge. But if we think globally about small business challenge, it's really that a small business owner has a vision to accomplish something, and they have two hands, maybe, or they have limited capacity in time and space and knowledge, but they have vision of doing so much more. And taking the next step to scale the business to outsource responsibilities or to hire staff is really the biggest challenge. And that's why fractional employees are such a great option for small businesses, because you can get people with lots of experience and knowledge and abilities that are greater than the actual visionary. Allowing the visionary to, or the owner to focus on what they do best is really the key. And I think that is the biggest challenge, taking that first leap to outsource work to other people.
Firstly, I got that. Okay, let's say there is someone listening to our conversation and he asks a question saying, hey, Steph, I'm actually CEO of a small business that is just starting. How then can I build a strong foundation? What would your response be?
Strong foundation starts with defining what the culture that you want your company to be, your values and culture. And those become guiding lights to all the decisions that you make. How you build your budget, how you treat your staff, how you treat your customers. I think that's a strong foundation. Now, that might sound a little bit cliche, so I'll just go one step beyond that to really operational and tactical responses, documenting what works and what doesn't work so that when you bring on your first employee, you can pass that knowledge on. So often as small business owners, we don't have time to document things and we keep them in our head. And then that first person comes on and we say, here, this is what we need to do. And they make the same mistakes that we did because we didn't tell them about the pros and cons of those different paths. And if we document and build processes so that we can replicate successes and outcomes that we want, I think that is a very strong foundation.
Beautiful, great answer. Okay, so let us get personal a bit. Why did you write
Mm.
Dark and Silent Office?
Yeah. I wrote it because I was embarrassed and ashamed that I was a 30-year professional in human resources and running businesses. And I had no idea how to communicate with individuals that were blind or deaf. I worked for a digital accessibility company. Digital accessibility is about building websites for individuals so that if they use screen readers because they're blind, they can actually read a website. The screen reader reads it for them. And while I was working for this organization, I had peers that were blind and deaf, and I had no idea how to have an effective conversation with them. And again, I was just embarrassed. And so I really, as I talk about this owner mindset concept, after leaving that particular organization, I said, I see a gap here. No one taught me in all my years of work experience or becoming a certified HR specialist how to communicate with individuals with disabilities. We learn about accommodations and the lawful things. We don't really learn or are taught if we haven't had experience in our personal life of having someone that is blind or deaf. We're not taught, what does this person need? How do I communicate? How do I write my documents? And so I decided to do what I call stand in the gap using my owner mindset and said, I'm going to solve that problem. So I wrote the book so that other HR professionals can learn how to communicate with staff and be inclusive in their communication.
Oh, amazing. Not so thoughtful of you. Oh boy, I love that. So, okay, can you share maybe some moment in your life where it was really hard and tough, maybe in your personal life or your professional life, maybe some challenges, and how did you overcome them? Is there any?
Oh, yeah. Um, so many, right? Well, I mean, life is challenges and falls and bumps all the way, really the response, how you respond and get up and keep going is the way to success. I think that I'm a little bit of a workaholic. It's not really the best the best way to be, but many times I just grind it out until it passes because everything does pass and time changes, and the older you get the faster time goes. But I can think of other instances in my career where I've had multiple positions, let's say, where I was promoted to a position, but my old position wasn't backfilled. And for months on end, I worked 2 full-time jobs. Or another time where I had a big project, I literally worked for 7 months, 7 days straight, 10 to 15
Mm.
hours a day. And so it really took a toll on my mental and physical health. I kept going, but ultimately I needed to just put up a barrier and say enough is enough and something's got to change, and ask my leadership to make a change. And fortunately for me, they needed me, so I was able to play hardball and say something's got to change or I'm done. But it really did come down to honest communication. It came to me having the courage to say enough is enough and recognizing that I couldn't physically keep doing it anymore. But then again, having the courage to have an open and honest communication to change that. So I think, those are 2 professional difficult experiences that I was able to overcome. And I'll give you one example. In another instance, I gained a certification. I was working tons, and I learned that 2 other male coworkers two other male coworkers were making about $25,000 more than me, performing the same job, but they didn't have
What?
the certification that I had earned. Yeah. And so I went to my boss and I said, I don't find this acceptable and I work really hard. I have a top performance appraisal. I have the certification. I'd like to earn the same amount that these other individuals do. And I was so scared and so nervous. And he said, okay. I laughed and I said,
Okay.
he said, okay. And I said, okay. All right, well, see you, bye. And I kind of just left. I was like, let me get out of here before he changes his mind. But I realized like all I had to do was ask for it. And that was a learning that I didn't kind of learn into my 40s. Like we don't advocate for ourselves, as particularly women often don't. They're afraid, they don't know what to say. And honestly, I learned I don't get anything if I don't ask for it. And as soon as I started having the courage to just start asking for things, I want more responsibility. I want a promotion. I want this. And I back that all up with the evidence of the why I've earned it. I don't ask for it before I've earned it. I always ask for it after I've earned it. And once I ask, I've pretty much been able to get it. But I put the steps in place to earn it first. I think sometimes we have a younger generation right now that asks for it because they believe in their skills and abilities, and that's amazing. But you need to earn it first. You need to prove yourself, and then you can ask for it.
That's right. That's right. I've got a clap for you. Beautiful. Thank you so very much for sharing this amazing stories with us. You see, it is very, very inspiring. And I tell you, for folks who are still stuck in that same situation you came out of, after listening to you speak, they will develop this courage and feel like, no, enough is enough, just like you mentioned. I tell you, it's a very inspiring story. Thank you for sharing that. So, to bring this to an end, Steph, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, get your books, or even ask you questions, how can that be possible?
Yeah, the best way to contact me is my all-inclusive website, stephaniewarlick.com. That has all my subsites to my different books of consulting and so forth. But the best wisdom that I can say that I learned late into my 40s and my early 50s really is to take the courage to take action on the things that you want. It is about putting one step in front of the other every day and staying focused on your goals and what you want to achieve. When I started this business again a year and a half ago, which is my fourth business that I've started, yeah, I was scared. I left a great salary, a great company, benefits, but I was miserable. And I am so happy. I can proudly say a year and a half later, I have great clients. I love what I do. I make great money and I work tons less than I used to. And it was all about having the courage to take that step and believe in myself. And I think that often we listen to naysayers around us that maybe say, oh no, don't do that or don't take that risk. I just say nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I think that's really important for people that want to go for something.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's right. So that's going to be the end of the show, Steph. Thank you for coming and thank you for educating us and sharing this beautiful stuff with us. And
Thank you.